I met a guy on the train and I got off with him in Vienna. We're still there.
Are you crazy?
The Before trilogy is regarded as one of the greatest love stories in the history of film and remains one of my favorite films of all time. Renowned for its critical acclaim for realistic dialogue, its minimal approach, and genuine portrayal of love, let's discover how they made the Before trilogy. The Before trilogy consists of 3 American romance films directed by Richard Linklater, starring Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy, beginning with Before Sunrise and continuing with the 2 sequels, Before Sunset and Before Midnight. The films were all written by Linklater along with Kim Krzan on the first film and with Hawke and Delpy on the last 2. Set and filmed in 9-year intervals, the films chronicle the romantic relationship between Jesse and Celine at 3 periods of their lives. The films are considered minimal, consisting mostly of monologues and casual conversation with extended dialogue between the characters. Contrasting ideas and perspectives on life and love are detailed, with the series referencing time, self-discovery, age, loss, and is considered an exploration of postmodern romance. So a little bit about each movie. Before Sunrise is set in a single night in Vienna as Jesse, an American student traveling Europe, and Celine, a French student visiting relatives, meet on a train to Paris. They wander the streets of Vienna and fall in love, but they go their separate ways and agree to meet again in the future.
Can you believe it was 9 years ago that we were walking around Vienna?
Before Sunset takes place 9 years after and is set in a single afternoon in Paris. Jesse, now a married father and a best-selling author, meets Celine while on tour promoting his latest book, which retells their meeting in Vienna. They wander Paris and lament on not following through with their plans to reunite. At the end of the film, Jesse goes to Celine's apartment, deciding to miss his flight home to stay with her. Before Midnight takes place 9 years after that and is set in a single day on the coast of Greece. Jesse and Celine, now a couple with twin daughters, argue over Jesse's desire to relocate to Chicago to be closer to his son, while Celine wishes to stay in Paris to take on a job with the French government. Despite their relationship being tested, they eventually reconcile.
And action!
So what inspired Richard Linklater to make Before Sunset? If you wait to watch the closing credits on Before Midnight, you will notice a woman is thanked, Amy. In 1989, Linklater met Amy in a toy shop in Philadelphia, and the two spent an unforgettable night together. This encounter inspired Before Sunrise. Sadly, Amy would never see the 1995 film because, unbeknownst to Linklater, by the time of the film's release, Amy had died. Unlike the fictional Before characters Celine and Jesse, Linklater and Amy tried to keep their relationship going after their initial meeting in 1989, but that long distance caused the romance to fizzle and the two lost touch. Amy died at the age of 24 in a motorcycle accident in 1994. Before Sunrise would start shooting only a few weeks later. It wasn't until recently when a friend of Amy's put the real-life story and the fictional story together, strangely much like Celine does in Before Sunset, and contacted Linklater with the sad information to relay. Up until then, he had hoped that Amy might show up at a screening one day. Now let's talk about the development and writing process. Originally in the screenplay, who the two people were and the city they spent time in was vague. Linklater realized that because the film is so much a dialogue between a man and a woman, it was important to have a strong female co-writer. He chose Kim Krzan, who had small roles in 2 previous films, Slacker and Dazed and Confused. According to Linklater, he loved the way her mind worked, a constant stream of confident and intelligent ideas. Linklater and Krzan talked about the concept of the film and the characters for a long time. He wanted to explore the relationship side of life and discover 2 people who had complete anonymity and try to find out who they really were. He decided to put Jesse and Celine in a foreign country because when you're traveling, you're much more open to experiences outside your usual realm. He and Krzan worked on an outline and they wrote the actual screenplay in 11 days. A lot of the audience who watched this movie thought that the movies were mostly improvised because of how realistic the dialogue is played out, but actually everything was scripted. According to Julie Delpy, there would be a lot of rewrites during the shooting of the films, but everything was thoughtfully planned and scripted and not just on a whim. Linklater stated, "Nothing was ever improvised and there was no spontaneous moments. I mean, there were spontaneous moments in our process, and then we recreated those spontaneous gestures. We shot in chronological order too, which for this film I thought was absolutely essential. The last thing we shot was the last day of shooting at the train station, and it was written the night before." In 2016, Delpy told Creative Screenwriting, "Ethan and I basically rewrote all of it. There was an original screenplay, but it wasn't very romantic, believe it or not. It was just a lot of talking rather than romance. Richard hired us because he knew we were writing and he wanted us to bring that romance to the film. We brought those romantic ideas, and that's how I wrote something that actually got made. In 2019, credited screenwriter Kim Curzan disputed Delpy's claim that the actors rewrote the entire script. Linklater and Curzan are credited for writing Before Sunrise, while Delpy and Hawke are credited for co-writing the sequels.
The three of us together worked on the script, so most of our rehearsal was just kind of continuing to work on the script, and we still are.
After the structure, I sent Rick 40 pages of a script that was based on the structure.
A movie like this is only as good as how much of ourselves we put into it, I think.
Casting and characterization. Linklater spent 9 months casting the film because he had trouble finding the right actors for the roles of Jesse and Celine. When Linklater first considered casting Hawke, he thought that the actor was too young for the part. Thankfully, Linklater saw Hawke at a play in New York City and reconsidered after talking to the actor. For Celine, Linklater met Julie Delpy and liked her personality. After they did a final reading, Linklater knew that Delpy and Hawke were right for the roles. Once Delpy and Hawke agreed to do the film, they went to Austin and talked with Linklater and Curzan for a few days. Linklater has also stated in an interview that securing the actors for Jesse and Celine was more than just finding two pretty faces to take on the roles, it was about finding collaborators. Production challenges and techniques. For Before Sunrise, a budget of only $2.5 million was used, and unlike most productions, it was shot chronologically. Linklater considered a larger budget sequel to be filmed in 4 locations. His proposal did not secure funding, so he scaled back the concept of the film, with Hawke, Linklater, and Delpy working independently on their own screenplays over the years. They also adapted elements of the earlier scripts for Before Sunrise for the sequel. Linklater described the process of completing the final version of the film as, quote, "We sat in a room and worked together in about a 2 or 3 day period, worked out a very detailed outline for the whole film in this sort of real-time environment. And then over the next year or so, we just started emailing each other and faxing. I was sort of a conduit. They would send me monologues and dialogues and scenes and ideas, and I was editing, compiling, and writing. And that's how we came up with a script." Hawke said, "It's not like anybody was begging us to make a second film. We obviously did it because we wanted to." Filming took 15 days on a budget of about $2 million US. The film is noted for its use of the Steadicam, for tracking shots, and its use of long takes. The longest of the Steadicam takes lasts about 11 minutes. As the summer was one of the hottest on record, the cast and crew suffered along with the city residents as temperatures exceeded 100 degrees Fahrenheit for most of the production. The film is notable for essentially taking place in real time, i.e., the time elapsed in the story is the runtime of the film. In the fast-changing Paris climate, this created challenges for the cinematographer Lee Daniel to match the color and intensity of the skies and ambient light from scene to scene. The scenes were mostly shot in sequence as they were still developing the screenplay. Producer Anne Walker McVeigh worked with less time and less money than she had on Before Sunrise, but still brought the film in on time and on budget. The sequel was released 9 years after Before Sunrise, the same amount of time that had lapsed in the plot since the events of the first film. The film was released in the wake of Hawke's divorce from Uma Thurman. Some commenters drew parallels between Hawke's personal life and the character of Jesse in the film. Additional comment has noted that both Hawke and Delpy incorporated elements of their own lives into the screenplay. Delpy wrote 2 of the songs featured in the film, and a third by her was included in the closing credits and film soundtrack. The Before trilogy received widespread critical acclaim, nominated for 2 Academy Awards, 2 Writers Guild of America Awards, and the Golden Globe Awards for Best Actress Motion Picture Comedy or Musical for Delpy. The series is also a commercial success, grossing $61.5 million worldwide against a combined budget of $7.5 million. Although discussed by the filmmakers and widely rumored, a 4th film is sadly not in development. Legacy and cultural influence. It has been nearly 30 years since the Before trilogy began. The Before trilogy stands out amongst other trilogies due to its unique blend of independence and continuity across its 3 films. Each entry offers a new perspective on the evolving relationship between Jesse and Celine while maintaining a consistent thematic thread. Despite the films being a continuous conversation between the characters, each has its own distinct identity. In Before Sunrise, the romanticism of Jesse and Celine's initial encounter in Vienna sets the stage for their dream of a life together. Before Sunset shifts the focus to the reality of their individual lives after 9 years apart, challenging their romantic ideals. Before Midnight raises the stakes as the couple faces the harsh realities of adulthood and the potential end of their relationship. Central to the trilogy's appeal is the nuanced characterization of Jesse and Celine, who undergo significant growth and change throughout the series. Their shifting perspectives reflect the passage of time and the complexities of adult life. The trilogy's unique chronological structure, with each film set in the decade it was made, Before Sunrise in the 90s, Before Sunset in the aughts, and Before Midnight in the 10s, adds authenticity to Jesse and Celine's journey. Over 18 years, audiences witnessed the couple navigate different stages of life, making their relationship feel genuine and relatable. The Before trilogy stands as a testament to director Richard Linklater's skill in storytelling, capturing the essence of love and self-discovery. While not as financially successful as other trilogies, the Before films leave a lasting impact by prompting viewers to reflect on their own relationships and existential questions. The trilogy's hallmark lies in its minimalistic approach, characterized by extended dialogues, exploring contrasting ideas about life, love, time, and self-discovery, thereby delving into the essence of postmodern romance. Its lasting legacy, which has inspired other romantic movies, shows that there's a market for just simple, storytelling love stories. So what are your thoughts, guys? I want to know how you guys felt about the movies, what some of your favorite moments are, some of your favorite facts, what your interpretations of the characters and themes are. Please let me know down in the comments. I'd love to read them. And I'll see you next time. Bye!